Hello, everyone. Glad to see you. Thank you for joining today. Please tell me how you can hear me, if you can see me well. Please, let's use English. I don't speak Arabic, unfortunately. So you're welcome to use the chat. And I will turn on the presentation. Please give me feedback in chat if you can see and hear me well. Okay, great. So my name is Ksenia Grishchenko. I'm co-founder and chief operating officer in Solent. And today I'm joining from Dubai. And I think many of you are aware of what is happening here in the region. And this situation, once again, reminds us that no place in the world can offer 100% guarantee of stability. So we will speak about what we can do to feel less stressful in different life circumstances and how we can help you with this. By the way, if you can, please, can you write in the chat from where you are joining from so that we understand the geography and to know each other better. While you are typing, I will introduce myself. I have background in taxation and consulting, and I've been working in immigration services for over 12 years. Me and my team, we worked in different large companies, and we helped more than 600 families to obtain second citizenship or residency across the globe. And now our company, which we settled about 2.5 years ago, is operating in 3 main pillars. These are immigration services such as second citizenship programs, residency by investment by different routes, which we're going to discuss today. It's also real estate investments in different countries, in Middle East, in Turkey, in Europe, and in some other destination in Southeast Asia, for example. And we also do corporate services like opening the companies, helping with accountants, and so on. And we understand that for many families, those types of services might be connected, interconnected. So this is good that we can be like a one-stop shop for many clients and try to not to offer one type of investment or some program. We try to reach their goals, to build a strategy together and to reach whatever they plan to reach. Okay, I see the geography. Thank you very much for sharing, and I hope everyone is safe. So we have 4 offices across the globe. This is Dubai, Montenegro, Turkey, and Moscow, Russia. So let's speak about Plan B. And I think that many of us noticed that during the past decade, the world has become very unpredictable. Starting from COVID, when the international flights were forbidden, and that was absolutely not predictable. Nobody could think that their freedom could be limited, that their decisions that were planned years ago about their children education, about their business expansions and so on, might be affected by some virus. Yeah, and same about many regional conflicts, same about economic instability. We see that the world is reshaping right now. We see that some alliances are moving, and this is very hard to predict how the world will look like in 10 years, in next 10 years. We don't understand now, we don't know what the world will look like and in which world our children are gonna grow. Previous generations, they probably planned to grow and develop, to set business and to retire at the place where they were born, or maybe move to the nearest large city or to the neighbor large country, which they maybe were thinking it has more opportunities. Today, it's very hard to predict, and it's getting even harder. So what we can do, like we do in investments, like we do when we buy in insurance, is try to decrease the level of stress by having different options to choose for us and for our future generations, for our families, for our children, and for our grandchildren. So what solutions we offering? That might be diversification of different immigration status. It might be second citizenship, which could help to be legal basement for some new story, which could also increase the global mobility, which could release the question with applying for visas or some business issues. It could also be diversification in investments, because sometimes instead of buying one more property in the home city, one more commercial property, one more luxurious car, maybe it's better to diversify and try to invest in different countries with different currency, with different geopolitical history, which can additionally give you immigration status, which would allow your children live without any limitation in European Union or in other place. So you understand me, yeah? For example, I know that many of our clients, they keep on obtaining assets where they have a habit to live. And I know many clients that own floors of properties in one city and never invested abroad. And we think that in current situation, when something unpredictable happening, to have some more tools, to have an option to choose, release you from the stress. You say, okay, we can decide tomorrow. It doesn't mean when you're obtaining residency or citizenship, it doesn't mean necessarily that you have to move immediately, that you have to change your lifestyle today. Sometimes some of the programs do require this, but some of that not. And you can decide now what you can do, which plans you can seed today to have solutions tomorrow. What we're going to speak about today? We will speak about citizenship by investment programs, and I will explain you how your second passport might be used and how we can group the programs existing. We would also speak about European residency programs with investments and without investments. And a little bit we will touch regional programs like US, UK, UAE, and other regions. After the webinar, we will share the guide and all the comparison tables that I will be mentioning today, we will share with you. So, and of course, if you would like to speak with the expert, with the manager, please leave an inquiry and we will contact you and discuss. So anyway, before you choosing a program, you need to understand your goals. We need to know your priorities, because actually there is no number one solution. We cannot tell you, okay, this program is the best, do this. No, all programs have their pros and cons. And these are the questions that we're normally asking our clients. And if you have answers for them, prepare them and the consultation will be much more personalized. So let's quickly go through the definitions of different immigration status. That could be residency, which is actually, residency, which actually means you are allowed to reside in a particular country. And in most of the countries, it might be quite easy to get residency. It might be given by your employee, it might be given even by your university, it might be by investments, it might be for entrepreneurs, for business owners, for digital nomads, and so on. What is important, that residency is always temporary. It means it's given for 1 year or for 2 years or even for 10 years, but anyway, you will need to renew it after it expires. Always residency, also residency could be called golden visa, like some of you might be aware, there is golden visa program in the UAE and also in Europe, which we're going to touch later. That mainly the name for residency, which is by investment, which sometimes give a little bit more of preferences, which allows you a little bit more of passive ownership that maybe doesn't have lots of residential relocation requirements, but it's also will be just residency. Also, there is a permanent residency, which is in most of the countries means that you have much more rights than a temporary residence. It is permanent, meaning that you don't need to renew it, you just need to update the card maybe, but you would own it later, and it's not connected with the basement on which you receive it. For example, if you had a temporary residency based on your employment, when you renew it, you need to prove you are still employed, right? And if you got fired, then you will lose the residency as well. But if you are on permanent residency, no external factors can affect on that. And of course, citizenship. Citizenship is the lifelong status, which is actually a legal foundation for all other legal statements, because both temporary residency and permanent residency would be given based on your passport, on your citizenship. And let's say your passport is expiring next year, that will affect on the time frame for how long you can get your residency. So I hope this is clear. And in most common immigration practice has naturalization process. That means when you relocate to one country and get your first residence permit, after a certain period of time of you renewing it, you might be able to receive permanent residency, and even later you might be able to receive citizenship. In most cases, this process would take you from 5 to 10 years. Also, quite often it is required to pass a language exam, a history exam, and to prove you have connections to the country, you integrate it. But this is the route, and I think some of you have friends or relatives who went through this. By the way, please share in English, please, in the chat, if you know, or maybe yourself or your relatives or friends got somewhere citizenship by naturalization. And alternative routes to this practice could be investments. Let's speak about second passport, second citizenship benefits. As I already mentioned, citizenship is the legal foundation of any life strategy, of any asset strategy. That means that all you obtain in life, real estate, company registration, residency, you opening bank account, whatever you do, you use your passport to register this, right? Correct? And you cannot use your ID or residency card. You would need to use your passport always. And if something happens to your passport, you cannot renew it. Or let's say it might become toxic, for example, due to geopolitical situation. Some banks and visa centers would put you in high risk category just because they have problems with the country. Sometimes this is happening. So anything you do in life, you're connected to your current citizenship and to your passport. That means that any other, maybe neutral passport can change, can be used for all these registrational things. You can register assets, purchase real estate and register it on your another passport. You can obtain residency using your another passport. You can apply for visas if they're needed. You can open companies and etc. So this is actually one of the strongest things. Of course, citizenship is a lifelong status, meaning that you don't have to renew it, to prove it, to go through KYC or something else. Once you're approved and got your citizenship, naturalization certificate of your citizenship and your passports, you will own it. More of this, whole of your family will also own it. And more of these new generations, your newborn cities, your newborn children would also get it. That means that if you can afford it today, if you can do something for new generations, and if you do feel you might need another citizenship, that's the time to do now. And your next generation might be super thankful for it. Maybe they will just keep it in a safe box and never use. We don't know, right? Some of the citizenship, some of the countries have strong passports which could also provide strong global mobility opportunities. For example, some passports provide visa-free access to European Union, to Schengen zone, to UK, Hong Kong, Singapore, to many countries. And that means that those restrictions and more complicated procedures applying for a visa could be forgotten. This is also a great benefit. And that's about main benefits. I can actually speak long about this, but let's look what are the options to get passport, to get another citizenship. Actually, most of us got our citizenship by descent. So we inherited this from our parents, right? Also, another route to get it is by naturalization, which we discussed a couple of slides ago. It also can be obtained by marriage. So if you marry a person with another citizenship, you can get the same citizenship after some period of time. Actually, this is naturalization also, but just a little bit with fast track. Citizenship can be given by merit. That means some exceptional contributions. And that's how many famous people, TV stars, actors, maybe got their passport, US passport or some others, or UAE passport, for example. There are also great stories. Some countries might give you citizenship by birth. This is very common in America, in US, in Latin American countries, and that's why many people, there is a popular business to give a birth somewhere in Brazil. And also there is a route by investment, which is actually quite a few countries offer that, but we have some choice. I grouped all the programs into 4 categories. We have European citizenship, citizenship that gives best global mobility, not best, but they're popular for global mobility opportunities, fast track options, and asset backup options. Let's go through all of them. Out of European programs of citizenship, we can speak about Malta. Also, the program was changed a little bit, and now it's not directly from investments, it's about it will be by merit, but still we can consider that after 1-2 years you can get Malta citizenship if you go through all due diligence procedure. Sorry, I will remove. I will not read the questions because they disturb me. I see they are repeated, but please stay tuned. We will have a recording. If you cannot attend, you can skip it. Okay. European citizenship, of course, quite strong status, because you will have rights to live and work in the whole Schengen area, in the whole 27 countries of European Union. You will have mobility opportunities which are much larger than, let's say, Caribbean programs, which we're going to touch next. For example, Malta has US visa-free, UK visa-free, and of course all European countries. And you would have an access to whole European infrastructure as a European citizen, meaning starting from airport exits with a fast track and finishing access to financial infrastructure, educational, social, healthcare, and so on. There are also cons. As I mentioned previously, all programs has plus and minuses, and for Malta, I would say the long approval period, which could be around 2-3 years, and of course the price. It would cost you around €1 million, which would be mostly in contribution. Also, there's quite a high rejection rate, very strict due diligence, but for those who have transparent source of funds and career paths, that is a good option. Next group, these are Global Mobility Citizenship Program, which maybe you're aware of. These are Caribbean programs. Those are ex-British colonies, and that's why they give visa-free access to the UK and the European Union, although some of the countries actually do not have UK visa-free for now. But still, Schengen would be visa-free, Singapore, Hong Kong, and some other countries, Russia. These programs were super popular because they were the most affordable at the same time and quite fast. The processing time could take from 3 to 8 months, and the price started from 100,000. Recently, the threshold was increased. It was actually doubled. So the starting price today is 200,000. And we now can differentiate other types of programs that would be the cheapest on the market. These are Vanuatu, Sao Tome and Principe, and Nauru. Those countries, unfortunately, do not offer you good global mobility options. But because they are the fastest and the approval time is around 2-3 months, those programs could be really used for having backup plan, which we discussed previously, this legal basement, which could be, which can help you to replace your current citizenship with some neutral status. And asset backup options, these are Turkey and Egypt, that offer citizenship for real estate investments. $400,000 for Turkey and $300,000 for Egypt, and you will get citizenship after around 8 to 12 months. I would not stop long on the programs, not to spend time. This information, one-pagers and comparison tables, I will share with you, and you can later discuss on the individual consultation if you feel particular interest. Okay. You see Sao Tome, the cheapest program, starting from $90,000. Okay, now let's speak about residency in Europe. As we discussed a little bit, that residence permit is actually a permission for you to reside in one particular country, and you might have access to financial system, opening bank accounts, you might have access to social services, you might have, but it's not obligatory, right to work in the country, and some other actions. When this country is inside of some union like EU, then you have additional benefits like visa-free access to Schengen zone. So as now many people struggle with European travel, and at the same time they have some interest there, business interest, or maybe their children study there, or the part of their family study there, or they just want to attend, I don't know, conferences and have doesn't have limits, that might be interested to resolve this question with access to EU. As we discussed, most of the programs in Europe, they have naturalization route. So if you decide to reside in one particular country, after 5-10 years, you can get European passport, and it will not cost you that much like in Malta. And all the social benefits I already mentioned. By the way, some of the European programs, they do have some tax optimization opportunities, like non-domicile regime or some tax exemption regime or some flat tax regime, like, I don't know, in Monaco, in Italy, in Andorra, in Cyprus, and Malta. So for some businessmen, for some investors, that also might be a reason why to consider one another country for potential or current relocation inside of EU. We discussed the difference between these definitions already. Let's also speak what we need to understand before we starting to choose one another program. We need to know whether we plan to relocate or not, or we just need this for our business expenditure, or we need it for our to have access for banking system, or just to travel visa free, and what we can afford ourselves. Do we plan to invest, or we just want the cheapest program, but we're ready to sacrifice something, maybe spend time or open a company, because it's not possible altogether. Have super cheap and easy program and do not have any obligations instead of this. If you want super passive, you would need to go for investment route. If you're ready to spend time to maybe pay taxes there, to open company, then we can use non-investment routes, which we see later. So let's start with investment category, which would be fully passive. For those clients that say, I don't want to have any minimum stay requirements, I don't want to be obliged to pay taxes, to open company, to show something to immigration authorities, I don't want to show my bank statements for renewal, I don't want any headache, then we need to go with investment route, which could give absolutely passive opportunities for this. For example, Greece is one of the best choice today, which would give you residency for 5 years for the whole of your family for purchase in real estate starting from 250,000 euro. This is around 1 million dirhams, and it might be an apartment in essence, which would have management company and will pay you like 3-4% return. And instead of this, you will have a 5-year residency for the whole of your family, which you can renew as many times as you keep owning your residency. And you can spend the whole year in Greece, or you can never come there, just keep on owning real estate. In Portugal, also there is a residency program which will require either 200,000 euro donation or 500,000 euro investments in fund. Unfortunately, real estate option was eliminated, and this is one of the trends, by the way, in Europe, that they remove real estate investments and they don't give any residency just because you are purchasing. Like previously, Portugal was given, now it's not available. So if you were thinking to buy something in Europe, better act now and to use the programs which are still available. In Hungary also there is a program with fund investments. In Malta, they can give permanent residency, which will be given either for rent or for purchasing property in Malta. And Malta has a tax program also. Cyprus is a very good program for permanent residency, which is for real estate investments in open market. 300,000 euro. You can choose anything you want in Limassol and Paphos and any other locations of Cyprus, and you will have your permanent residency there. The only thing, Cyprus is not part of Schengen zone for now, but it's part of the EU. So if you want to know more details, we had webinars separate about Greece, about Cyprus, about other programs that we're going to discuss today. And we can make the comparison of all programs for you based on your preferences. If we discuss residency without investments, let's say you don't want to have any asset in Europe, or you have some other reasons, but you want all the benefits. We can consider one of these routes, which are digital nomad visa, that means a remote worker, which is financial independence residency visa, which is for passive income holders. That might be startup visa, entrepreneur business visa, or employment visa, or student visa. We do not offer any job opportunities, so we do not help with that. But we just now discuss what is the choice. Same with student visa, we do not help with this. We do not help with relocation, helping with job and so on. We only work with investors, entrepreneurs, with some high net worth individuals. They do need some strategy and some guidance across the opportunities to compare, to choose, to think of some maybe potential tax consequences or combination of programs sometimes, because family might be large and the opportunities might be different. The requirements might be suitable for one part of family and not suitable for another part of family. So also very important, because I know sometimes we have requests to help to find a job in Europe. We don't do it, unfortunately. So let's compare these types of non-investment residences. Digital nomad, very popular category because this is for remote workers. And I think COVID taught us to work remotely, and that's become possible for many categories of clients. It would also suit for freelancers, and this is quite easy and popular category, which is available in many European countries. Of course, it's important that you need to prove the stable income, consistent stable income, which comes to your bank statement. You'll need to show it to immigration authorities. the amount of income which is required to be shown depends on country, and this is something that we also can compare. Sometimes they request to show additional savings, sometimes they do not request, but this program is very well working for freelancers and digital nomads. Financial independence. This is actually a very good choice for investors, for just high net worth individuals who have some money and who don't want to show any stable income, salary or whatever. Also works very well for retired person and that type of category. That means you need to either show passive income, that means dividends or I don't know, rent, or you, and sometimes depend on the program, it might be enough just to show your savings on bank account. That means for the country you have enough of funds to live in the country without being employed there, without trying to get some social securities payments and so on. Startup visa, also very popular in Europe because government tries to attract entrepreneurs to develop new spheres, to develop innovational startups. And these are the programs for entrepreneurs where you need to be approved by special business incubators or venture ecosystem. This is very good for young specialists or for founders that do want to develop business, but of course it requires to have a special background, relevant experience. You will need to go through business plan approvals, depending on which country you go, there would be different requirements. And of course, for renewing that type of category, you will need to handle this business, and sometimes there is a commitment on some success. Sometimes you just need to show operational cash flow. And employment and student categories are, of course, good because most of the time they are supported by employers. But the main disadvantage that you need to find employee that will prefer you over local candidates. As I mentioned, those categories do not require any specific investments in real estate or in business, but the nature of these programs is actually to attract wealthy and hardworking people that would develop economy, that would bring an impact to the economy, that will live in the country, would spend money, pay taxes. And the idea of this visa is to make investors live in the country. So most of them, for renewal, would require minimum stay requirement for at least 183 days per year, which could bring you to tax residency in this country. This is something very important to consider. Some of the program might not require this, and there could be some options to avoid this. But anyway, it's most common practice. So you need to understand that those programs work best for those who do plan to relocate or at least spend sufficient amount of time in one or another country. Okay, let's move forward. By the way, one of the most popular options here is France, which has startup and business routes, which gives residency for the whole family for 4 years. This is quite a rare case because largest period of European residency is 5 years in Greece, which we discussed previously. And most of the non-investment programs, they are for 1 year, maximum 2 years. And France can give you residency for 4 years because they want to attract young entrepreneurs to develop their business environment. And this innovation talent visa program is super popular. It has many specific requirements like relevant background and experience, but still, if you think you might be qualified for that, we would be happy to work on this. This is one of the most popular program today. It's really very popular, and many people who do plan to develop business in Europe, who do plan to maybe relocate and consider France, choosing this route. By the way, in France, this naturalization to passport is only 5 years. That means that in case you manage to spend time in France to learn language, or maybe you know language already, this is a very fast and realistic route to get European passport, starting with this category. In France, there is also a financial independence program, this visitor, for 1 year, which could be offered for parents or young children. I also will not stay long on these programs because most of the European countries, they do offer nomad categories, financial independence, and so on. And we can discuss with the client which one to choose. Okay, something's broken. But I would stay, for example, I would discuss a little bit more about Spain, which offers digital nomad visa, one of the most popular among the whole options in Europe for this category, because it gives residency for 3 years. So it's also one of the leader based on the time frames, and something that worth considering. Sorry. Okay, so let us know if you're interested of one of the European programs, and I will touch the other residency options across the globe. We have program in the US for green card investment program, and also some other routes for special talents and for entrepreneurs. In UK, we can offer different types of visa, including startup visa, including talent visa, which are also popular and could bring you to with naturalization to citizenship status in the UK. In Canada, there is a startup visa, which was evolved a little bit, but still existing. In the UAE, we offer all types of visa, residency and golden visa, including nomination route for golden visa in the UAE. And of course, we work with investment categories like real estate purchase, bank deposit, and etc. In Montenegro, it's a very peaceful and nice place, not far from here, by the way. We can get residency there using business setup route and real estate investment route. So that's actually the end of small overview. I was planning to leave some time for the questions, although I see there is some mess in the chat. So I would not stop on questions. Okay, I see some questions in another. Okay. I see question. For Caribbean citizenship, any chance of losing Schengen access, as you said, some lose UK access? That's a great question. And as I said in the beginning, we cannot guarantee anything for 100%, because there were rumors and there was some pressure from European Union towards Caribbean program and towards their visa-free access. And to eliminate this pressure, Caribbean countries, they fulfilled the additional requirements, and they changed a little bit the due diligence process in order to satisfy those authorities. And I can say that due diligence process, which is in the Caribbean now, is so complicated. You need to show everything. You need to show source of funds much more deeper than sometimes banks are requiring. So I think that Caribbean are doing everything that is possible to eliminate this risk, but whatever happened, we don't know. I can say that we don't know. We cannot guarantee that European Union would exist in 5 years. Like, I don't think that something happens, but I cannot give you 100%. Same, I cannot give you with visa-free access, because this is changing very fast, and then don't ask us. Okay, another question. What is the difference between visa and residency? Okay, actually residency it's also a visa, just a different category. And sometimes it is required to have a visa of different category. For example, when you obtain travel visa, it will have in Schengen, you will have category C. When you apply residency visa, you would apply for category D. And in addition to this visa, which is put on your passport, you would also have a plastic card. Like if some of you are aware of UAE system, you also have visa, which previously used to be in the passport and now electronic. And you additionally apply for ID card. Okay, connection cutting. Okay. I see questions about family composition. We would provide an offer, a calculation of all fees, because these 35,000 euro, which are for France, these are not the full cost of the application. There would be some small fees for the embassy application. It also depends whether you need to get address, insurance, and so on. So we will provide the whole quotation for your family. And please leave an inquiry, or we will contact you after the webinar and give you all details. US opportunities. Yeah, US is eliminating, you see what's happening. They're eliminating their immigration system, but still visas are working. Like they keep on issuing O1 talent visas, EB1A visas, L1 visas, they still work. They issued some list of countries that are now restricted by finalizing the immigration office, but most of the cases that were approved previously, they're still under consideration. So if somebody needs to go somewhere, there's always a route. Of course, it depends on the factors that you have, but we can discuss. We have good immigration lawyers in the US. Most of the payments are splitted. Okay, so I'm planning to finish. If you have questions, if you need individual consultation, let us know. We'll give you personal guidance and recommend which programs would suit your strategy, your goals best, whether you need to do second citizenship, whether you don't need. If you need maybe combination of factors, what strategy would work best for whole of your family. And also inside of the options, inside of the programs, we can advise you about the options, which way to go, compare them, and then you will have the whole picture to make a decision. I wish everybody a great evening, safe and peaceful weekend, and let's plan in advance not to worry less when something bad is happening. Thank you very much for your time, for your attention. We will send you emails with the link of the recording to see if we have it, and you will be able to leave an inquiry to schedule individual session. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.